So hello people of YouTube, hello people of Twitch, welcome back to the channel. We are covering today the upcoming experimental ship Varese, which is pretty much an up-tiered Michaelangelo with some certain experimental ship gimmicks. As you can hear my voice, I'm still a bit sick, so yeah, I'm sorry how I sound, but I can't change that really. I do feel much better though, so thank you for sticking with me, guys. Now, what is the difference to Michaelangelo? You don't have a exhaust smoke screen generator. I think you have one in Michaelangelo. Instead you get a super heal, which is pretty strong, but it has a long cooldown. Furthermore, since this is an experimental chip, it has the gimmick called fight or fight, which means you will gradually get more secondary range and secondary DPM because the reload is getting faster the more HP you damage you take. That means right now our base stats are 12.5 cam secondary range. If I'm down to, I think the threshold, the biggest reduction I can get is 20 or 30%, I'm not sure. But basically at around 22k HP I would have a secondary range of 15.1. So the more damage you take up to a certain point, the more damage output and range your secondaries have. Downside of the ship is it's still a Michaelangelo hull, which means it's rather squishy when you show. It's angled pretty decent, although you have a big nose and big back. But unlike Napoli, it's far easier to punish when you show full broadside, so keep that in mind. We have some decent HP, but yeah. Main guns are also not really the most usable because Michaelangelo turret placement means you're mostly gonna stick to your secondary guns. We start by going up here. The cool thing is, you can always disable the secondaries and have your concealment of 11 cam still, which is very, very nice. Downside is, again, you don't have the exhaust smoke screen generator, which could be pretty cool on this ship, to be fair. So we're just gonna put up here. It's arms race battles. We didn't need to go for a cap necessarily at the beginning. Can push up as much as we can already from the start. Shikishima is going to the other side. There might be a thunder or something which I need to take care of though. Or pay attention to. I'm spotted and I'm pretty sure it's not the Harugumo. It's a Trump. Okay.
Siluria prua.
He's gonna get quite smashed by my secondaries. At least in theory.
Siluria prua.
As you can see, we have already 700 meters more secondary range. Now it's a kilometer, so it stacks up rather quickly. You don't really need to get the max bonus, to be honest. But having always a bit of bonus is very, very nice. And you also need to pay attention to, it's still a cruiser, so you cannot slot manual secondaries. They are more accurate overall, but they're not as accurate as a BB would be with manual control secondaries. Also, while the turrets have pretty bad angles, the turret traverse is pretty good for 305s. Or 320s even. Ain't no way the bro is going for the ram. He can land all these sports on me. He's dead. I'm not.
Una palla nello scafo, stiamo imbarcando molta acqua. Danno critico al motore.
Abbiamo distrutto un incrociatore nemico.
I didn't really care if he lands all 3 pops on me. Because I knew I will easily survive it. Okay, we're now gonna move over here. See if we can pressure them a bit in their spawn.
Teamgenoot, ik heb je hulp nodig.
The only downside is with this fight we just had is that I don't have a lot, that I lost a lot of potential healable damage. However, we got a arms race tick going on for a heal, so we heal regardless anyway, which is very, very nice. Now we're gonna move up here. Do I think this is again one of the better experimental ships? I mean, it's a pretty good one, but I still think like something like Oregon on tier 10 was far better. Because funny burst fire with insane guns. But yeah, we're gonna move up now to the spawn. Also, one thing you need to, like, one thing that's with this design a bit, yes, you have a lot of secondaries and they shoot really fast. But again, you don't have the best accuracy on them. Like, you cannot improve it more than having improved dispersion from the start with. But the closer you get, at least against more armored targets, it means you will mostly hit the Citadel belt and then do 0 damage with that. And you can't even get fires then. So it's kind of going down. You kind of don't want to brawl completely. You want to keep a bit of distance, so most of the shells land in the superstructure. On the Ds, it's a completely different story. They were just completely destroyed in close combat because every secondary gun can pen them. But for bigger ships, that's something you need to take into consideration when playing the ship. But yeah, we're going on to the spawn. In 1v1 situations, pretty decent. Depending on the opponent, but other than that, pretty decent. It struggles when you have to fight multiple opponents that are at certain angles on you, because again, you're not allowed to show broadside with the ship. Battleships will be able to death strike you, or do like chunk half of HP away. You're not forgiving like a Napoli, for example. Okay. Our DDs are going like a... They go like sharks or hungry dogs. It looks pretty funny actually. At least I can use my main guns a bit here, which is not too bad. I feel like the main guns are more accurate than Michaelangelo ones, but I can't judge it. I barely play Michaelangelo. But I don't really have a value to compare right now, but it does feel like the main guns are rather consistent. And if I remember correctly, Michelangelo's main guns are not as consistent. I'll use this game mainly as demonstration. Also, one more thing, I think on the dev blocks, yeah, that's a good thing the chat just wrote. I think there might be some changes to the ship before it's gonna be released. I think it's getting even buffed. Let me quickly check. So Varese gets 2 second, you get 2 second better rudder shift on the ship upon release, which means you will be able to turn in faster if somebody crossfires you, which is a pretty good, actually a pretty good thing. It means you will be a bit less vulnerable to citadels or getting surprised. I'm always in for having better rudder shift over some demented armor, because then it takes the player skill to react on certain moves of the map and not just rely on, hey, you can't sit it on me armor. That shouldn't be in a game.
La nostra vittoria è vicina.
Corazzata nemica affondata.
Okay. One good thing about the main guns is, since they're set, they do full pen damage to submarines. Boom.
Sommergibile nemico affondato.
About to get the Essex as well, which is very, very nice. Oh, end up actually with a fairly okay result in the end. Look at the damage, guys. That's where the sap goes. Like, when you have some super light armor target like this, that's where the chap chunks really a lot of damage. Still ending up first in the team, nice. And that's pretty much Varese for you. So all that's gonna change it, it's gonna get a tick better, guys. Gonna be having a bit better rudder shift, so that's, yeah, nice. I don't think it's as obnoxious to play as, for example, against an Oregon or Viesma, but we have to see how it performs once it hits the live server, what people can adapt to it. I'm gonna keep it with this one game because I want to keep my voice a bit sane. We still have to cover Nanning today. We still have to cover yeah, we have to cover a lot of ships. Let's just say it like this. I can't remember all the names right now. Nanning, Protector, and so on. Hotake. If you like this video still, this little showcase of Varese, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe on the YouTube channel, guys. We're close to 24,000 YouTube subscribers, which is crazy, and I want to thank you so much for that. A month ago, we were sitting at like 23, so this is kind of crazy for me. Thank you so much, guys, for all the support. See you next time. Bye-bye, you Trenlass. Good. Next is gonna be the Hotake. How many are we actually away? How many YouTube subscribers from 24,000? I wonder. $13 people to go, that's crazy.